So, coming from WCCF Tech, Jeffries warns memory prices will surge 50% in Q3 2026 and another 40% in Q4 with no relief until 2028. So you thought DRAM prices were bad now. Apparently, it's only going to get a lot worse. I do think this is interesting. I was talking about this with Apple last week. So Apple just raised the prices of their computers and devices by anywhere between $100 to $300. And one of the things that I was positing is that they did a large increase at one time, basically so that they could do it and that it would be done. Essentially, the idea that they could see into the future, they know that RAM prices are going to continuously go up. And so it's better to do one large increase to your prices, get that through the system, and then not have to worry about it again, versus increasing prices by $25 and then by $50 and then by $75 and then by $100, right? Every time that there's a price increase, people, get bitchy about it, which, is understandable. So I was arguing before that I think Apple just did the massive price increases just so it was out of the way, and hopefully they wouldn't have to worry about it for a while. And it appears, surprise, surprise, I may have been correct on that particular concept because prices are going up. Holy bejesus, as the kids say. The prices are going up. Memory prices are all set to rise further in the coming quarters of 2026 as persistent shortages continue to grip the market. Ongoing memory shortages continue to result in higher prices across the tech industry, with no positive outlook presented by the big three DRAM makers, Samsung, SK Hynix, Micron, and China's CXMT, not being the savior that the industry hoped for, as a quote, cheap Chinese memory narrative was nothing but myth. Analysts expect the prices to see a sharp increase in the coming quarters of 2026. I do think this is interesting, right? So CXMT, this is a Chinese memory maker, and so basically they've been doing better and better. I think they got spun up in about 2016, and they're going at China speed, right? Literally, they got created in 2016, and now literally Apple is making a request to the Trump administration to be able to buy CXMT's memory in order to be able to put in their devices. So literally within 10 years, they went from spinning up a memory manufacturing company to being of the quality that Apple wants them in their systems. And so I think one of the things, and what a lot of people thought, is that China's CXMT has kind of been excluded from the global memory market, or at least like the Western global memory market. CXMT is on a blacklist here in the United States, so that causes a lot of problems with trying to purchase CXMT's DRAM, for a lot of the Western countries. So one of the concepts is like, well, okay, so they create RAM, but there's this idea that it's going to be cheaper, right? China is always the low cost option, right? That's what we've come to expect. The interesting thing though is that there is such a demand for memory at this point in time. CXMT doesn't seem like they want to leave money on the table. Why should they not charge as much as they possibly can if companies essentially have to pay the price, right? One of the things with a lot of Chinese manufacturing is the idea is that there's a lot of competition out there. So one of the ways that China is competitive is simply by selling more or less the same product at a cheaper price. Well, here's the thing. Memory right now is not a competitive market. All the memory that comes off the line, it gets purchased. Now, to be clear, whether it actually ends up in systems that get turned on at the end of the day, that's a question mark. But as far as the memory makers are concerned, all of it gets purchased. So if CXMT knows that they can charge market rate for their prices, they can charge just as much as Samsung or SK Hynix or whatever else, then why shouldn't they? And I think that's going to be a little bit of a shock. I think this is also going to be an interesting thing in the technology world. as everything kind of settles out with China's growth into a lot of the tech sector is as we stop seeing them as the low cost option, right? So for so long, China was the low cost option. That was one of the reasons to buy Chinese equipment. I think with Huawei, I think with a lot of the stuff coming out for the Chinese technology stack, what we're going to start seeing is that they're simply a superior product, right? They are a superior product that provides a feature set and a whole bunch of other things that is competitive with other people's feature set. And so even if there is a small price discrepancy, maybe they're a little bit less expensive, I don't think it's going to be the massive price difference that people have been expecting. But anyways, that's one of my opinions there. According to Jefferies Equity Research, it is reported that memory prices are expected to see a 40 to 50% rise in Q3 2026 versus the current quarter. Following Q3, the market should brace for another 30 to 40% hike in Q4 2026. So basically, that's like a 90% or 100% rise by the end of the year. And to be clear, when I'm recording this, it's almost July. What is it? It's June 29th. So when we talk about this, we're talking about basically a 100% increase in DRAM prices in 6 months. Let's see, in 2027, a 40 to 45% year-on-year price hike is suggested, and the only recovery will be seen by 2028 when ASPs are expected to decline as new capacity around 15 to 20% comes into play. The supply won't be as meaningful as anticipated as demand for AI and compute continues to increase. This is also going to be one of the issues. Like, there's so much going on in the AI world right now. Everybody's trying to build AI, so it's really curious. Like South Korea, they're pumping $1 trillion. Oh, trillions of dollars. Anyways, they're dumping $1 trillion into their AI build out. Like, we hear this with Europe, we hear this with the United Kingdom, we hear this with other countries. AI is now no longer a product. AI is no longer a feature or a solution. It is a national security concern. So one of the issues we're going to be dealing with this whole AI disaster is now that the governments are involved, right? The governments are going to be forcing more and more purchases into this idiocy. So long after everybody on the planet realizes what a disaster this AI build out has become, the government is still basically going to keep pushing to build more and more AI capacity because they see it as a national security issue. Um, Let's see here. Currently, 50% of the total capacity is covered in long-term deals and contracts that are being signed between memory makers and top tech firms. Micron already signed 60 agreements as part of its SCAs, Strategic Consumer Agreements. This could rise to 70%, which means that there is going to be even fewer supply available for consumer products such as PCs, laptops, consoles, and smartphones, leading to higher prices across the board. So think about that. 70% of memory capacity is already taken before anything is actually produced. Only 30% of the memory capacity is going to go onto the open market and be able to be purchased. And, it's a supply and demand thing, so the price is just going to go through the roof. Meanwhile, the expectations that Chinese DRAM and NAND will overturn the market remain a flawed narrative. Chinese firms are selling memory at similar prices to the rest, and the only advantage they have is supply, but that is primarily for domestic consumption. The report states that Chinese products pose no threat and are no longer considered to disrupt the market during 2026 to 2027 period, but that might change by 2028 when CXMT and YMTC enter the next phase of their quote epic expansion initiative, which will see the acceleration of new fabs and production lines that could lead China to develop enough supply inventory to cater to offshore markets. Which is the point that they will take over the memory industry, like they're trying to take over every other industry out there. So yeah, that's what's going on in the world of memory. World of memory, world of storage. Yeah, what do you think about this? What I talked about that video before. Xbox was like $750 for like the low end. Like there's the Xbox X. Anyways, for one of like the low end Xboxes, it was like $750. Not only was it $750 for an Xbox, But they were literally saying with the increasing in hardware prices that that would go up. To my question, who the hell, who the hell is going to spend like $1,000 on an Xbox? And this all is only going to get worse because all the manufacturing capacity is taken up. And the interesting thing here, they talk about if they increase their capacity by 15 to 20%, that's not a lot. Think about this: 70% of all capacity is taken, but before anything is manufactured. Right? That's how big there's a demand right now. And then think about this: they're only increasing their lines by 15 to 20%. Basically, what that tells me is they know this is a fraud. When you look at that, it shows you that they know it's a fraud, but they think it will last a while, right? So the idea is, hey, let's invest in new factory capacity, but let's not be ridiculous about it, right? If they really believe this fraud was going to go on forever, they would be doubling or tripling capacity so that they could handle all of the customers that are coming in. But remember, in a capitalist system, it's all about profit and loss. If you build out multi-billion dollar facilities and then the market drops out so nobody wants your product, those multi-billion dollar facilities literally become a loss. It is much better as a business to charge triple what you used to charge for the exact same product and then increase your production capacity by a little bit. Right, that way you're making a lot of money, and if the market blows up, you just go back to where you were a year or two ago. It's not that painful. Uh, and so that's where, yes, as long as this AI disaster continues, we will continue to have problems with memory, with storage, and that type of deal, simply because people in the tech world see the writing on the wall. They're making as much money as they possibly can before it all goes boom. And that's where we're at. That's basically where we're at. So what does that do to you? I mean, if you're a decision maker and the price of RAM and storage is getting to be so high, it does become like an interesting question of like functionally what do you do with this particular situation? And this is where you think about things like architecture design, right? We talk about that, or I talk about that architecture. How do you design your systems? Are things processed locally? Are things processed on a local server? Are things processed using an API call up on the cloud? What we might run into is it might be really wise, it might be really, really, really wise over the next couple of years to design your architecture more to use other people's systems, essentially burn their RAM, burn their resources, versus trying to buy your own might be a way to go. The other thing to be thinking about with this too is the whole question of refresh cycles. So one of the big things with refresh cycles is the real question with refresh cycles nowadays is how long do you have to wait before a computer that you buy now is significantly better than a computer that you previously had, right? And so if you go back 25 years, like a year. If you had a yearly refresh cycle, that would actually make sense. Every single year, a new computer actually made sense. Then it got to be a bit more normal, about every 3 years for a refresh cycle. One of the interesting things to think about now with these organizations, though, is if you have a laptop from 2020 and RAM prices and storage prices are what they are now, there is a real question about whether if you purchased a new laptop, would you get significantly better performance out of a 2026 laptop than you would a 2020 laptop? And I think a lot of people are going to realize no, they probably won't. Like I've talked about that before, right? I've got an M5 MacBook Pro, 128 gig M5 MacBook Pro here, and an M2 32 gig MacBook Pro here. And basically, I only switched over to using the M5 MacBook Pro as my daily driver a few days ago when I started using the M2 MacBook Pro as the center for my little recording studio here. Because the reality, let's be honest, the reality is the M5 MacBook Pro is better. Look, it's better. When you encode videos, it's better. Sir, you can tell that it's faster. It's not that much faster. I'll just admit to you, it's not that much faster. And so that's one of the things you have to be thinking about, like if you're a decision maker, like with your refresh cycles. I mean, are we getting to the point in the corporate world where we should be looking at decade refresh cycles? And then you got to think like how would you support systems on a decade refresh cycle? Some stuff to ponder. So what do you think about this? What do you think about RAM prices just going up and up and up and up and up and up? Um, I don't know. Are you gonna buy an X? Are you gonna buy an Xbox for $750? $1,000 for an Xbox. What do you think about that? I don't know. Put your thoughts. Put your thoughts down in the comment section down below. If you like these videos, do remember they're on Spotify and on Apple Podcast. Link is down in the description. Also, if you want to follow me on LinkedIn, there's a link down there too. With that, see y'all later.